Good morning. So we're out here walking the dog. I have been hearing a lot of talk about ADHD and what to do about this and should you medicate your child and blah blah blah. And so I wanted to offer my perspective as a person who was diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. If this is your first time seeing my face, hello, my name is Stacy. I am 38 years old this year, and I was just diagnosed with both ADHD, the inattentive type, and also autism. Now, in case you're wondering, what was her childhood like? I had an awesome childhood. I have great parents. I grew up in a loving home. My parents were semi-strict, but loving. I grew up with rules and boundaries and consequences to breaking rules, but they also encouraged me to explore the things that I liked, to do whatever it was that I wanted to do, and be whatever it was that I wanted to be. Now, I was not the typical type of kid that you might think would have ADHD. Why? Well, because number one, I got really good grades in school. I liked school, actually. I still kind of like school. I thrived in the school setting. So I got really good grades. Number two, in terms of school, I was extremely well behaved, followed all the rules, didn't talk out of turn, didn't, get out of my seat, didn't, this, that, or the other. I was extremely well behaved. So I was not the kind of kid that anybody in the school system would have had on their radar as, an ADHD kid or even autism probably. Now you have to remember, I am 38 years old. So that means I was born in the late 80s and I grew up in the 90s. And so at that time, not a whole lot was actually really known about ADHD and or autism, except that it affected boys, young boys, and that's kind of it. That's really kind of all we knew. Now, what were some signs at home, probably, that I was an ADHD kid? Number one, my room was always messy. I didn't put hardly anything away, but I could tell you exactly where everything was in my room. Number two, my task initiation was not great. I procrastinated a lot, and I was able to get stuff done. I was able to bust it out when an urgent deadline was approaching. Number three that I can recognize now, but I didn't know at the time, was that I was constantly dopamine seeking, which at the time meant that I was eating all the time, seeking out sweet things, candies, cakes, sugary stuff like that, for that dopamine hit. He saw a squirrel. And there's other aspects of myself, looking back on childhood, that I can be like, oh, that was the ADHD, but also that was the autism. So both diagnoses, in my opinion, make sense. But I don't want to get too much into the autism right now because we're here talking about ADHD. Now, that was kind of my early life. Now, what was it like going through middle school, high school? Because this kind of tends to be the time when a lot of kids, their executive functioning starts to fall apart. So like I said before, I thrived in school. I went to public schools. We had a set routine. We had set classes each day, and I thrived. Number one, I liked learning things, but also number two, I had a set structure. I had a set routine, and also I knew what to expect every day. Now, you're probably wondering at this point, it's like, okay, Stacy, so it sounds like you had the perfect childhood, upbringing, blah, blah, blah. So what's going on then? It doesn't sound like you had any sort of ADHD troubles at all. So let me tell you about college. At the time, I didn't realize that this was what was happening, but when I got to college, my executive functioning fell apart. I had set classes at certain times of day, and that was helpful. I made it to my classes all the time. I was never late. I don't think I ever missed a class. Again, I thrived in the school setting. I liked school. I liked learning things. So that part was fine. So what wasn't fine? Organizing the rest of my time. Sticking to a schedule that I created for myself. I never stuck to any sort of deadlines, schedules, anything like that I set for myself. The only way it would work is if another person was involved. If another person was involved, then yes, I would absolutely do the thing because I knew someone else either knew about it or was counting on me. I mean, the procrastination got so much worse. I was writing multiple page papers the night before they were due. I pulled all-nighters a few times. I was super stressed out. It was not great. And at the time, I was talking myself out of it or explaining it away by being like, oh, it's just because this is new, I'm a freshman, whatever, I'll figure it out and I'll get better. Spoiler alert, I did not figure it out and it did not get better over the entire course of the years that I was in college. Did I graduate college? Yes, I did. I actually graduated summa cum laude, and I was able to, go on to a career and stuff after that. But could it have been easier? Yeah. Flash forward to getting married, starting my own home, starting my career, etc. What was my executive functioning like? Again, like at work, I was able to hold it together. I was super organized. I did all my stuff on time, and nobody would have suspected. However, at home, I was a mess. My task initiation and follow through were really bad. Really bad. Sorry, he wanted to smell something, but we gotta keep moving. And it was stuff like I would manage to do the laundry on the weekends, but then I wouldn't fold everything. The laundry would sit in baskets in the floor of my bedroom for an entire week, and I would just pull clothes out of the basket. Task initiation and follow through were really hard. Basically, doing pretty much anything was just exhausting, mentally and physically exhausting. I was tired before I even began. Also, accompanying all of this were like emotional outbursts, feeling things very large, very big, and very intensely. So if I was happy, I was really happy. If I was sad, I was really sad. I mean, not the depressive disorder notwithstanding. If I was angry, I was really angry, etc. I'm about to walk into the sun, so I had to put my sunglasses on. And living with this version of myself, I never understood why I was like this. I didn't like that I was like this. I didn't like that I struggled with, I just walked through a spider web. I didn't like that I struggled with like basic stuff, basic human-ing, basic adulting, basic life-ing. And it seemed like everybody else was able to do it super easily. And I'm like, this isn't even hard. And that's the kicker too. Any ADHD person is going to tell you, this isn't even hard. So why am I struggling with it? And I got to hurry this up because I'm running out of time. And it wasn't until I was an adult and started questioning, why the fuck am I like this? I really hate this. And started getting my own answers, that I found out exactly what was going on. And then when I found out what was going on, luckily because I'm an adult, I was able to decide for myself. Oops, sorry, I walked through another spider web. I was able to decide for myself, yes, I want medication to help me manage this problem. And so I'm going to talk about meds in the next one because I'm about to run out of time.